Well, hello, everybody. I just wanted to say hi and wish you a happy Monday. And, we made it through D Day month week. We're not really done yet. It's still D Day month. However, the problem with D Day month is it also turns into Barbarossa month, which starts on Sunday. I Sorry, there's only one of me, and I can't do it all at the same time. However, of course, I'm going to do something for Barbarossa. I'm going to do something special for it because I'm not going to really talk about the Battle of Barbarossa, the invasion of Russia. You all sort of know what happened. I'm going to talk about why it happened and what really happened, and a little bit of Lend-Lease and how Stalin was finagling his way into having this happen. Anyway, that's going to be a month of that, and I have an interview with Chieftain talking about Russian armor, and I have interview with Rex from Rex Hangar about Russian Air Force, Red Air Force, and if I can wrangle Drakinefeld out of the rock he is hiding under, see if we can get a naval explanation of what the Russians were building up as well, because they were all building up much more. Anyway, I wanted to give you a little update on what's going on on lost battlefields around the world, if you haven't noticed. Lost battlefield news is the CIA. Oh dear, the CIA and the FBI and FOIA requests. So many FOIA requests. Um, if they don't respond, then they will respond. And I thought this was really funny because I don't know if you know about this, but after the Second World War, now Heinrich Himmler, of course, you know who he was, and his rather impossible wife. I say that somewhat jokingly, but that's by all accounts a impression that I have of her. Then there's Himmler's mistress, Hedwig, which was apparently a lovely gymnast. He with whom he had two children. They were very close, from what I can understand, and what's interesting about her is not as much what's interesting about her, but the fact that the CIA took care of her for the rest of her life. And I thought that was really interesting. Why would they do that? And when I say take care of, I mean take care of. I mean, set her up eventually with a new name in an apartment, new apartments, made sure her bills were covered, taking care of the kids. If anybody came to bother her, she had a number to call, and the next day she would be living in a different town. She didn't talk to press, didn't talk to anybody, and anybody ever found her and asked, she was gone by the next day. All taken care of by the CIA. First by the USS, of course, and then the CIA. Until the day she died, she was taken care of and hidden by them. And she was still friends with the other SS officers' wives and the generals. But I don't know a whole lot of other SS, even the higher ranking SS generals, that were taken care of and protected by the CIA. And I thought, well, that's interesting. What on earth did this woman have to share? I mean, obviously, she knew a bunch of stuff that Himmler also knew. And since he had been suicided by the British, and yeah, he was. Don't ask me. The British killed him. Don't go there. Yes. So of course I sent the FOIA request to both the FBI for good measure and the CIA to please share with me your the interrogation reports and the transcripts. And by the way, why did you do this sort of thing? And what did she tell you and everything? And usually it takes them, a year to respond. That we'll write to you in another year. And then the next year they'll write me that they're still looking, and they'll write to me another year, and then they'll tell me to go bite, myself. Funny, this was a week, and then they wrote me back, and I'll post a letter. It's kind of funny that, due to confidentiality of their informants and sources, they couldn't possibly release this information. Now, mind you, everybody here are dead. She's dead. Both of her kids are dead. They didn't have any kids. Everyone's gone. So I'm like, oh, bloody hell. Well, but that tells me there's something interesting there. And I will, of course, follow up, and I will appeal, and I will complain. And speaking of FOIA requests, and the new administration's pledge to release documents, and of course, we're all looking for Kamler and the secrets and what was happening in the underground tunnel factories and all that. And of course, ever since new administration came on board, I have been emailing, calling, writing. The president put Senator James Comer in charge of the Committee to Declassify Formerly Classified Documents. Snazzy title. And he put Congresswoman Paulina Annaluna in charge. And yeah, she's actually quite pretty. So I've been in touch with both of their offices. I've spoken to every 19-year-old intern they probably have in both. I have gotten several emails where I have sent my percent of my case to. I have offered to fly to Washington and meet with either one of them. I have asked if I could please speak with either one of those two. Just give me 5 minutes on the phone. Let me explain why this is important. Because remember, it's not just about Kamala. It's all about Kamala's bank accounts. And it's about Alan Dulles and the SS bank accounts that Alan Dulles knew about. And then did the CIA keep all that money? There's a lot of interesting questions. And of course, I wrote the White House directly. And they're all busy people that don't really seem to be that quick on the trigger to respond to any of these particular things. I'm going to keep fighting this battle. And it may come to the point where I'm going to tell all of you to start writing or calling for the same reason. Because this is peer pressure. If the demonstrators downtown, if you can hire a protest or a riot to show up and protest and wave signs, why can't we have a bunch of historians start calling and mailing for the release of documentation? It may have to come to that. I'm sending out a press statement when the riots are done, because that's kind of drowning out the news, that I'm looking for stuff and have this on my mind, and then we're going to follow up and bother everybody from everybody. Maybe Rogan would be interested in hearing the story of what we're looking for. Maybe Musk has some idea. I don't care. I want to know, and before I die, I'm going to find out. But you may have to come help me with that. What else is in the news today? Well, this is Lost Battlefield news. And again, welcome to all you new people, including the Finnish insurgent today. I just love it when you start speaking languages I absolutely do not speak. I guess that would also include welcome to the Polish insurgents. Looking forward to coming out to Europe again. I am currently on standby because of the riots for some period of time, or 60 days. Clearly, I'm not wearing green, and I'm sitting right here doing very little because nobody really knows, and I have no idea. I haven't even looked at the news today. I don't care. I don't see any communists running around my backyard with signs. I'll deal with that if I do. Right now, we're fine. So, lots of world news going on. Pakistan and India decided to start spending a whole lot more money on anti-drone defenses and missiles. India can afford it. Pakistan probably can't afford it, but they stopped fighting and stopped trying to kill each other, which is a beautiful thing. It was very interesting. What else are they doing? The Pakistanis are going to increase their military spending to 2.5 trillion rupees, which is $89 billion, which is, I'm not sure they actually have that, but equipment upgrades. And I saw the Indians, what were they doing? They were going to up to $21 billion for new equipment, including new fighters and indigenous Teja jets that I haven't seen yet. We're going to try to look and see what interesting stuff they're doing. Everybody is very keen on the drone defenses right now. And you all know what the Ukrainians did last week when they blew up a whole bunch of Russian strategic aircraft, including I think they almost got all of the Russians AVACs at this point, which is bad. Russia have a problem regenerating this equipment and these planes and these bombers because they don't build them anymore, and the equipment they need for a lot of the avionics and electronics they get from the West, and they can't get them. So that's significant. The interesting way, I don't know if you all know how the Ukrainians did it, is they had trucks designed, built with remote controlled drone units sit in the back. They would drive them in relatively close distance to the air bases and to the targets they wanted to strike. And then the crews would leave, and all this would autonomously open up. Drones would come up of the back and attack their various targets all at the same time. Well planned, took a long time, had looked like regular trucks, cargo trucks that rolled in over the border and destroyed their targets. And most of the operators, as far as we can tell, the Ukrainians, that they all came out. They were all pretty much out and gone by the time this all happened. But it really shows how vulnerable a modern military or culture is to something at drone strikes. And what was then interesting was now you saw on day 61 of negotiations, the Israelis decided to hit the Iranians and the nuclear facilities. And they're still doing it now. I'm not going to really get into that because it's still an ongoing thing. But what was interesting was the Israelis did exactly the same thing. For months and months, they had rolled in secret bases and trucks with drones, with missiles, built up launching stations inside of Iran, and hit a lot of their air defenses. And from what I can understand, most of, if not all of their Iranian air defenses was destroyed in the first strike, leaving Israeli jets, even Gen 4s, fighter jets, to traverse their airspace safely, which is still a very cheap and interesting way of setting up an attack. Rolled across the border with the trucks for months before, placed them, put them in charge. There's even Israeli special forces on the ground in in Iran, in Iran, and they showed video of it, which is pretty damn ballsy, and it shows you they better have a plan, because you would assume that if they're still there, they have a plan for how to extract them, having shown that they're there, unless they're now gone, or there's something bigger going on. Um, Drone warfare is here to stay, and I mean, just look at how innovative the Ukrainians are doing the drone warfare thing. Off the shelf drones reconfigured into taking down other drones or carrying warheads or grenades or explosives. And then you wonder about how vulnerable America is. We brought in over the past 4 years 15 million illegal immigrants, where we don't know who half of them are. Our border was as open as a flood water. We don't know who's here. There are lots of people around the world, operatives who does not like us, who would put people in place to hit us and strike us if they need to. I think that is something we really need. I hope X is on top of this, and Homeland Security is on top of this, because there's a clear and present threat. What about Europe? You have millions and millions of illegal immigrants. Most of them do not appreciate the European culture they have come to. And at some point in time, a lot of these cultures have said it out clear that they will rise up and take the country they're in back, or take it back, or take it over and kick out the Europeans. So just be aware. We live in interesting times. The Israelis have said they are now going to, what did I see they were going to do? Very interesting. Everything's interesting these days. Israel introduces an AI-guided missile defense system. A sling in this David Sling interceptors was now going to be working with an AI component, which is very interesting. And we're looking at more and more smart weapons that's going to be coming online. And speaking of smart weapons, don't make our soldiers dumber. Meta has Facebook, right? Why did you change your name? We know who you are. They have developed an AI-enabled military headset. The Meta is working with the U.S. military. Please, Facebook. First, CIA develops Facebook, and now everybody's on Facebook, and now they're developing AI weapons for the military. Yeah. Okay. There's a lot to dive into there, but I'm just going to mention it. An AI-powered headset for training, integration, real-time battlefield simulations, and augmented reality for enhanced situational awareness. We all knew this was going to come. Look at the pilots' helmets. This are the right ethical problems and privacy concerns. Well, considering that our internet and communication is all pretty much read by everybody who wants to, I think we can give up on the privacy thing. But yeah, sure, let's fight for it just for the heck of it. Interesting stuff that's going on there. We worry about our Facebook friends. What did the Army do? June 10th, President Trump announces that the plan is to revert back to the base's original names as an honor tradition. Okay, fair enough. I'm in favor of that. I am not in favor of destroying our history. No matter if it's good or bad, but including if it's bad history, we need to remember it. And we need to keep these symbols in place to actually point to them and say, this guy did this, guy did that. We cannot let anybody destroy our history, and we cannot allow digital takeover to destroy our history learning. And you look at some of the AI search tools or Google, you see how much is disappearing. And you may wonder why they did what they could to try to destroy the Internet Archive. It's terrifying. And I will say, buy books. Buy books for the love of God. Buy books, because they cannot, unless they break into your house and burn your house down, take the knowledge or edit it away. Anything online can be changed digitally. And you see the amount of propaganda that is now tied into World War I or World War II especially, and being misrepresented, and how you slightly forget and you rewrite, and how many American young people running around there have no idea what a great country this is or why it is. British politicians saying that the Britons have no culture of their own. Germans ignoring theirs. Thank God the Polish are standing strong for their culture, like every country should. But it's very troubling when you can now buy, if you're smart enough to manipulate the internet and the search results, which have been going on for a long time, you can start to delete history. You can delete things that happened. So the physical remainders of statues, of bases, or bunkers, forts, things that are physically around, we cannot let anybody delete those. And that's why my idea or my contribution to history is to take you to the places where history happened and film them and show you, here it is, sticks and stone, brick and mortar. This is what happened here. And this is where it is, and this is what it looked like, and this is what it would be to fight here. Because you never know. If you're ever going to hear of some of the places I can go to online, you might never hear of them. And I find, or people suggest to me, new places all the time that I wasn't aware of, which is amazing. I love it when you guys send me suggestions. And yes, I'm sorry, I'm really, really bad at answering emails, because I have like 100 of them every day, and I'm drowning. And between D-Day week and Barbarossa week and everything else, and it's kind of hard to do everything on my own. Really need to get rid of my day job. Somebody call Elon, tell him to stop selling cars and give me money. Other than that, nothing really interesting news around the world. Well, yes, China is working on developing AI-enhanced drone swarm technology, and that actually scares me, because you've all seen the drone shows, with the light shows of drones that fly in formation and do different things. And if you weaponize 100 drones and you come to attack a person, and 100 drones, $500 each. A lot of assassins these days have money and well funded. You put 100 grenades on 100 drones to attack one person or a rally or whatever, you're going to do an awful lot of damage, and there's nothing anybody can do to hide from this. So I'm hoping that drone jamming technology will be a real thing in military and Secret Service and law enforcement. I hope the law enforcement is keeping tabs on all these people who are being paid to riot around this city. And just like in 2020, nothing changed, except look at it like wargaming and actually find out who they are, and then eventually get them and stop this. This rioting nonsense is absolutely frustrating. And for those of you who don't know why this is happening, it's happening because you have communist socialist groups, and I'm saying that because that's what they say they are on their own website, because they wave the flags and the names of who is paying for them to show up and riot down at the protests. This is who we are, and this is what they believe in. The communists are back, folks. You see it across Europe. Globalism, communism, Marxism, it is back. And if you are what you would call a straight white normal person, or straight normal person, who believe maybe a little fiscal. I don't want to make this about politics, but this is don't believe what you see on the media because it's happening right out here. And the people who are screaming about how terrible this is, they're the ones paying for it many times. It's their people, like our idiot Marxist mayor. She is. She is. She went to Cuba 7, 8 times, met with Castro, did a eulogy for him, learned about as indoctrinated in Marxist ideology. And she was involved with the terror organization that killed people in a bombing 20, 30 years ago. That's the LA mayor. The group that is paying these protesters to show up and walks in the forefront with their sign, something, I can't remember the name. She supports them. They're her people. She supported them, sponsor these, and a lot of them get government money. So we are basically paying for people, for organizations that are rioting and burning our city down. And like I said, the mayor, when she's screaming, "Oh, this is somebody else's fault," well, all she has to do is pick up the phone and call them, tell them to stop rioting because they're her people. It's her group. It's her organization. That's what you get. So you get the whole show of blaming and nonsense, and all because ICE was trying to deport illegal immigrants that had been convicted of crime. And they had everyone they picked up or went for when all this started had been convicted of violent crime, horrible crime, gun crime, rape crime, sexual crime, drug dealing, gang affiliations. No wonder we want to try to get these people out. You saw the Minnesota Democrats representative that was just gunned down by one of these lunatics because she dared to vote that illegal immigrants that were convicted of crime should not get social benefits or free medical. I mean, they shouldn't be in the country in the first place. But she voted with the Republicans in taking away free medical from criminals who are here illegally. If you're in a country illegally, you shouldn't be getting anything for free, should you? I'm just saying. I mean, find a legal way. But anyway, that again, different story. So they killed her, and I was saying that the Democrat Party of Bill Clinton is gone. Those are not the people you're looking at anymore. And now within the Democrat Party, they can't even have dissent amongst themselves or disagreements or conversations because out of fear that they will be murdered by one of their own extremists. We live in interesting times. So anyway, military history it is because it is much safer and much more fun. And we are not done with Barbarossa. We're definitely not done with Barbarossa. We are just beginning on Barbarossa, but we are not done with D-Day week yet because we have to go to the Macy Battery and the conspiracies and stories and about that because that is an interesting thing that is relatively new to history since it was completely gone and missing until 2008. Even the year after D-Day, the Michelin Guide put out a booklet of battlefields and to the enormity of the D-Day landings so that eventually, the soldiers, those who had died, their families could go and see where they fought, and the soldiers themselves could go see and point out to the families where they were the year after D-Day. And on the official maps, Macy was gone. So somebody covered this place up and this battle up almost immediately, physically too. Still bodies inside. But you'll see that. I was going to go Sunday on that because, well, it's the next installment and it's Sunday. However, problem with that is Sunday the 22nd is also the day for the Barbarossa started. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do this. I don't want to give you just overload of things, but anyway, and I also think it's time somehow to bring the Q&A back so you can. I have to find a better way of getting questions that are not just drowning out in my email. There's got to be a way. Obviously, those in my Patreon, I'm thinking that they're going to get first priority on their questions. I think I'm going to have to start there, and also I'm going to try to make room for requests of what would you really like to see. Again, it's going to have to start with Patreon because they're actually helping me out you're all helping me out and supporting, but they're actually helping me out money out of pocket every month to make the show go. But I want to try to give something a little bit back and do some more interactions between all of us. It's just hard because I still work full time, and if I'm not working, I'm sitting in front of this editing, and I still have to go to Europe and film some more this year. And there's a rumor that I'm going to end up in Southeast Asia as well. So probably a little filming in the Philippines. Not confirmed at all. It's work related, but if I'm there anyway, I'm going to jump off, and I want to see Fort Drum and some of the other forts out there in the Philippines, including the cavalry charge. My unit was the last cavalry. The last cavalry charge in war was conducted by my unit, what was officially named the Filipino Scouts, in 1942 against Japanese tanks. And that will be kind of interesting to see where that happened. And my CEO was very excited about me doing a documentary about that. So, but let's see, one thing at a time. Anyway, just wanted to give you a sort of hello update and hi to everybody. And thank you for being here. And thank you for watching. And see you soon. And I'm trying to find better ways for us all to communicate and do things. Till then, it's time for pasta, beer, and ice cream. Oh no, I got to go back and edit. Sorry. Wishful thinking. I thought I was going to, just for a minute.
I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel, liking, follows, and maybe even join me on Patreon to help out. I am just a guy, a historian, traveling around all these historic places in Europe on my own dime, trying to bring them to you.